Welcome back to episode 48. The car's not quite finished yet. There's a few little things that I need to get sorted, but none of those prevent me from running in the engine. According to Wikipedia, running in or braking in an engine is a procedure of conditioning an engine by giving it an initial period of running, usually under light load, but sometimes under normal or even heavy load. Now I don't profess to know exactly what all of this means, but from what I understand, the main focus is on the piston rings, and the goal is to help settle the piston rings properly into the cylinder walls. The controversial question is, do you use low or high revs to achieve this? A low or high load on the engine? And how long should it take to complete the procedure? I've seen people drive carefully for 1,000 miles before a quick oil and filter change and that's their engine run in. On the flip side, I've seen an engine being driven quite aggressively for just 50 miles and that was job done. The concept of getting it wrong can mean anything from ongoing running problems to premature wear of parts that need immediate replacement. So what do? Knowing which method to use has been playing on my mind for the last few weeks. I could just play engine roulette by choosing a method that I've seen and hope for the best. But I thought, why not just ask the person who built my engine in the first place and see what would be the most suitable method for my setup. This would also ensure that should there be any issues with the engine, I can at least sort of say that I carried out all the correct running in procedures as per the builder's instruction. So I gave Paul Jeffries a call and he suggested a really quick and simple way, and it's the same method he used for running in the engine he built for his Mini, which seems to have worked well for his engine. Paul's built engine and gearboxes for quite a few members of the Mini community, and his own Mini has covered thousands of miles commuting to various car shows throughout the year and it runs great. He's even put his engine to the test on track days. So I thought if it works for Paul, I've no reason not to follow his method, especially as it's Paul who built my engine. After chatting with Paul, his recommendation for my engine was as follows. First of all, I had to make sure that fuel and timing is where it needs to be. So I bought myself a timing gun. The cheap gun failed after a very short time, but I was able to time the car correctly just before it broke. And I was able to roughly set the fuel mixture using a combination of lifting the plunger on the carburetor to test and checking the spark plugs periodically. Secondly, I was to make sure that the engine is able to reach its optimum temperature. I originally fitted one of these thermostat blanks, but the engine just wasn't getting hot enough. So I fitted an 82-degree thermostat and it works perfect. Then I was told to find a nice long stretch of road, preferably a quiet dual carriageway, drive along the road until I'm close to 60 miles an hour, then let off the pedal until the car slows down to around 40 miles per hour, then 3/4 throttle back up to 60 and repeat this procedure for around 100 miles, which sounded simple. It just so happens that I live close to a dual carriageway that will allow me to follow Paul's instructions, although I will have to keep stopping at each end of the carriageway to turn around and come back. That should help with varying the engine speed a little. That sounds like it's quite a simple process and one that I'm happy to follow. So all I had to do now was drive to the dual carriageway. Within a few minutes I arrived at the dual carriageway. I realised straight away that this would probably be a better job to do at night when the road isn't so busy, and I will come back later on when it's a bit quieter, but I can certainly clock up a few miles whilst I'm here now. I'm not convinced that my speedometer is accurate, so I decided that rather than aim for a particular speed, I'd listen to the sound of the engine, which was another suggestion from Paul just in case that the speedometer wasn't given an accurate reading. So all I had to do was to get up to speed as suggested, let off the throttle until I lost around 15 to 20 miles per hour, then 3/4 throttle the car back up to speed again and keep repeating this procedure until I clocked around 100 miles. although Paul suggested 100 miles, it's not a figure set in stone, and any other driving that I've done or I do contributes to the running in as well. But a good couple more hours of this and it looks like I might be ready for doing my first oil change.